Some mountains are pretty special, and they can create memories that last for a long time, decades even, and sometimes these mountains should be visited more often. On today's trip, we head to one of these mountains that has memories for all of us, and we get it on a rather special day in rather special conditions. Oh, good morning. Don't know if you can see my van down the car park there. It's lovely, nice, comfortable night in the van. I'm just waiting for Jerry, I think maybe Mark, to come up. We're going to be heading up a Monroe, one of the higher ones, just over there through the trees. You'll not be able to make it out, but one of the higher ones in the area, and there's a reason for that. And it's also a hill I've not been to for a long time, and I've got a story that you could maybe learn from. One of those experiences where you think, I'll never ever do that again. But I'll come on to that a bit more. And I also think I've probably got some of the earliest video footage I ever took in the mountains on these hills as well, which I might show, or I might not show. Anyway, we'll go back to the van, have a coffee, and wait for Jerry and Mark to appear. So let's do that, and I'll bring it back in a wee while. I went back to the van and just spent a bit of time getting all my kit ready, had a coffee, and packed my bag. And before long, I could see Jerry's distinctive Defender entering the car park, and we got our stuff saddled on our backs, and before long we were heading off and striding towards the mountain. Okay, so we have started our hike, and we've got Mark and Jerry. Ooh. And we're going up. We've all got stories about this hill later on, haven't we?
Yeah,
not just the ones I've got, but you can trump my date the last time I was up, and you've got some history about this as well.
There's some history about it. History behind you as well.
History behind you. Ah, right. So Jerry, tell us about this wee.
So this
hut.
This
you can see
palatial cabin that you can see there is not, as you might think, the Ritz or the CIC hut. This is Clash Cower, which is the Gum Club hut. Gum being Glasgow University Mountaineering Club hut. And I think it sleeps slightly more than a phone box would accommodate. But it's been there for a long time. Because as I said earlier on the way up the road, Stob Gower, I've given it away.
Stob Gower, yeah.
That is quite a prominent place in the history of mountaineering due to a famous transitional ice climb.
Oh really? Right, we'll talk about that later.
More of that later.
Shall we show them it? So up here, I don't know if it'll come out in the camera, there's Jerry's pointer. There's actually sun up there, so we're hoping to get above the clouds, and that was one of the reasons we're up here, and we'll hopefully get an inversion up there. It'll be nice views.
To feed Murray's inversion addiction.
I know, need it. We need at least a week.
What we do is we look at where the cloud ceiling is, and then we look at the hills, and we pick them on the basis of so Murray can stand above the clouds. So
that was our discussion. We said, well, why don't we do it in the next bit? We'll discuss how we decided on Stob Gower.
Yeah.
Right, shall we go?
Right,
let's go. So on we went, and I was actually really excited about the prospect of getting above the clouds, but the path was good, and there was a few streams to cross before we reached the start of the steep part of the climb. Right, we're at about 450 metres. We've done just under 300 metres of ascent, so just thought we'd stop at this waterfall. It's quite scenic.
Nice, yeah.
You can see it, yeah. The guys were just talking about if it froze it'd be a nice winter climb, wouldn't it?
There's even a big bench post to belay on at the top.
I know, fantastic. So yeah, it's you see the crepuscular rays behind us. It's lovely, isn't it? It's so nice. So we're hoping that.
I thought you said testicular rays, crepuscular rays.
Definitely not testicular rays.
You used to work with him, didn't you? Testicular rays.
You're right, this is a children's programme. Well, it's not a children's programme.
It's made by children.
So yeah, we're probably about halfway, and hopefully we'll get above the cloud. It's looking promising, but this bit's a bit steep, isn't it?
Had nice wee rocky steps and
bit of scrambling and stuff. So yeah, we'll report back once we're up at the top. and onto the ridge and hopefully starting to poke through the cloud. Let's, shall we carry on?
I think we have to,
on.
yep.
Yeah.
Having just lowered the tone.
So here we are at about 800 metres, maybe just over 800 metres, and we've just entered the cloud. Jerry's stopping for some jelly babies. What type of jelly babies are they?
Only type.
If you know, and all that stuff. So yeah, the cloud base has risen slightly as we've been coming in, but it's going to be touch and go as to whether we poke out of it at the top. There's about another 250 metres to go, so fingers crossed. Let's see if we can get it or not. So, oh, look at that, perfect. We'll be up there in no time at all after these.
Breakfast.
Bring back later.
Fueled by a couple of Iron Brew jelly babies, we headed up through the cloud, and we really weren't sure whether the top of the cloud would be below the height of the peak, but up we went, and before too long, another couple of 100 metres, we started to see some more light conditions, and the sun was starting to show itself, and there was a wee bit of blue sky. Things were looking good. Ooh. Sky. Could be reaching the top of the cloud, we'll see. Ooh. And that magical moment came, that moment when you see the blue sky appear and you look over your shoulder and can start to see the top of the cloud spread before you. It really is. You can see the Cheshire grin on my face here. I was super happy, and yeah, we headed up and we soon approached the ridge just below the summit of the hill. It was a rather fine place to be on this morning. We got a broken as well, I think, today. Oh wow, there we go. There it is. Nice big glories. We have just popped out of the cloud. I don't know if you can see behind me, you can see our glories and our broken. Again, our ridge line's perfect, and just getting your shadow cast below you. And then Stob Gower's over there. And Jerry, you want to explain our route choice today? Because we had a few different options, didn't we?
Well, we had a chat last night. Murray, as you'll probably know if you watched his latest, is addicted to adiabasis.
Oh, here we go. Cloud inversions. Oh sorry, temperature.
Adiabasis. It's not a cloud inversion, it's a temperature inversion.
Did you not hear a bit in the video about that?
Aye, yeah. Anyway, he's addicted to it now, so he'll not go anywhere unless he can go what's called VFR on top. That's something else. If you know what VFR on top is, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Just ignore it.
He likes to come out, and look at that. That's a good. And there's Mark waving his hand. The Mark is the Brock inspector. He's come to inspect the Brock.
So we were looking at hills over, higher hills, and we thought about Lors and Bidgeon, but we've done those a million times.
I think we had a sort of 1100 metre type cut off, wasn't it, to guarantee being above it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the camera will show it, but over there, the cloud is just boiling over.
Is that Benandoi or Bendoran?
I think that might be Bendoran.
Yeah. So we've picked right, haven't we? You can see the Ben behind us.
Ben Nevis is really the only other thing that's out.
Well, we go to the top and we can chat a bit about the stories we've got the last time we were here, and some of the historical bits and bobs. Let's get to the top.
So on we went, and our broken and glories followed us towards the summit of Stob Gower. It was lovely, fantastic place to be, and can't believe it's been so long since we've been there. And as I said, we all have stories which we'll tell you about in a wee while on this hill, but what a day to come back and revisit it. It's a good hill in its own right, but to catch it in these conditions again was just absolutely spectacular. Anyway, before long we were taking the final few steps towards the summit, which was standing proud by about 100 metres or 150 metres at this point from the top of the cloud. It was rather fine.
Right, so here we are, we're just off the summit, and we've hit the jackpot, haven't we? We're literally, must be about 50 to 100 metres above the top of the clouds, and I don't know if you can make out behind us,
the glories and our broken on the ridge down there. It's fabulous. Yay!
It's fantastic. Glorious glories.
It's just beautiful. But you were going to talk a wee bit about the history, weren't you, Jerry?
Yeah, Stub Gower. So I've had a long association with this mountain. There's a famous climb. It was famous because in the early days of mountaineering, before I started, even before I started,
You sure?
in the step cutting eras, the upper couloir of Stub Gower marked a sort of crossing point between snow climbing, like Centre Gully, Ben Louis and Broad Gully and stuff like that, and ice climbing because it has about a 30-foot ice pitch in the middle of it.
Right.
And it used to be said that that was the entry level to ice climbing, was that. So for years I had numerous attempts to try and climb it, not because of its difficulty, but because it was either not in condition or avalanche prone.
Right.
But it's a nice wee route when you do it.
It's at the top of the hill though.
It's right at the top. You have to climb the whole hill to get it, more or less.
Sure do,
But it's a nice atmospheric route, and as I say, a historic route.
Yeah. Well, talking of ice climbing and snow, I'll maybe tell you my story later on, but you were looking at your diary or your book.
I was looking at my Monroe book. So 32 years ago, last month was the last time I was here.
You must have been like 8 or something.
Thank you.
Aye, right.
And there was a wee footnote at the bottom of the book, and it said snow, blue sky, and it was October. So
Long before global warming, eh? So you were climbing it with nailed boots on, and you were like before climate change.
Yeah. And where were you exactly? Where were you?
where were you?
I was just a twinkle in my father's eye.
Aye, exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
we're on precarious ground here. We're
Aye.
almost in the ice axe and cramplings here, so we're going to head back to the summit and we'll do another route to camera before we leave. But we've got the place to ourselves.
Round, eh?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
steep.
Nip up and get the rope, Murray.
Yeah, I'll nip back down. Some Scotch eggs, as always. Beautiful. Tesco's. That's the gold standard. Scotch egg. As has become a custom, as we reach the summit, we've got Jerry. Jerry here is going to give us a 360, which shouldn't take too long today because there's not many poking out of the cloud. So over to you, Jerry. 360
Okay, so
Meister.
there's not many hills showing. So we're going to start with Anachbeg, which is just straight ahead of my finger there. Coming east from Anachbeg, we've got Crease, Clacklet, Melavuri, the ski hill, and then a lot of cloud. And then the next thing you can see, and hopefully you'll make it out on the camera, is I think what's it? The one Benacrecan, just to the north and east of Achalada, and in the distance we think that might be Lors.
Yep.
You can make out a ridge which has got Benachalada or Benandoi on it, and the only one that's shown out, as we think, is Bendoran at the southern end of that ridge. And then we've got Benmore and Stabinian poking out.
Yep.
And then again a lot of cloud. And
I'll come around
just
the other side of it, hold that. There we go.
Just sticking out of the cloud in front of Mark there is Ben Louis, which at the moment is kind of obscured by the vapours.
Yeah.
So Ben Louis, and then again the rest of the hills are under the cloud level, but sticking out there you can make out the Tainelt Peak of Cruachan.
Yeah.
The Tainelt Peak of Cruachan, and then coming round from that there's a wee thing sticking out which I think might be Ben Scoulard.
Yeah, you can't really see it now,
You
can
can't
we?
really see it, but just it might be Ben Scoulard, and then it's obscured until we come round to the Big Bad Ben.
Yeah. It was,
back to where we started.
Yeah, Pigeon was out.
Pigeon was out but has gone away.
Maybe back to
Ben
there.
Nevis, Canmore Jerrig.
Perfect. There you go.
There you go.
Quick 360. Right, we're going to have a Scotch, finish with Scotch egg and then head down. Are you cold?
Heating up now. You don't get cold hands.
It really was a fantastic place to be at this time, but we did notice the cloud was starting to rise up the hill, so we were just poking out of it and no more. But brilliant, what a place. Right, time to leave the summit. Say bye to the the Brocken over here. Bye bye Brocken. And I'll tell you what, we're glad we usually people will go to the first Munro. There's 2 Munros in this round. I think it's Stobbahoyer, Oar, which is a bit lower, and it's in the clouds. So I'm glad we never went there first, because the clouds slowly starting to creep up the hill. As you can see, it's getting lower and lower, so we've just timed this perfectly. But time to head back down now, back into the mist. There's the spectres of Jerry and Mark disappearing into the mist. Let's go. Woo! What a place. Look at this. That's some good footage. There you go. So Jerry's just saying that we picked well, and we had a boardroom meeting, didn't we, Jerry?
Yep.
Every Friday we spent hours, and Mark
maps and forecasts.
And Mark just turns up and enjoys it. Doesn't take any time out on Friday to help choose.
Yeah. That's because I'm so chilled.
Just chilled. Oh dear, oh yeah, isn't it fantastic? Can't beat a good inversion, eh? So that's just dropped back down under the cloud, and you can see just past Jerry there, the views are starting to open up. Lovely, so I think we got really lucky, so we'll report back. Still need to tell you the story of me going up here, and also maybe some footage of my very first video. I'm not sure whether I want to show you guys this or not. Might traumatise you. Stay tuned. There we go, right, down we go. Right, we're down now underneath the cloud, as you can see. A beautiful waterfall here. Again, you guys were talking about being iced up. And
It'd be nice if we ever got winter again. If it froze, it'd be good. I'm sure it's been done, but it looks lovely.
Anyway, talking of ice, my story that you might learn from is that my brother and I came here, I think it was an Easter weekend many moons ago. It was a beautiful sunny cold day, and we looked at the hill which is south facing and decided not to take our ice axe and crampons. And that was the last time I ever did that, because we went up Stobbahoyer Road there first, and then round the back, and there's a steep pull up onto the Annakeegic which takes you up to Stobgower, and that was all banked out with snow, and it was hard packed, icy snow. Really, we should have had ice axe and crampons on, but we saw people going up and we thought we'll be fine. And yeah, ever since that time I always take crampons and ice axes at that time of year, because you don't know, we couldn't see around that sign, we just assumed there was no snow on the hill, but it was all banked out round the back. So that was my story.
Yep, you live to tell the tale.
Yes, this time, yeah, so.
Experience
Right.
was the sum of near misses.
Indeed.
We've
So
just
yeah,
clocked a wee swimming pool up there.
a beautiful swimming pool.
So we're going to have a look at it.
I'm not going swimming.
We're going to have a look.
Well, I definitely didn't go swimming, but we did descend back down, and just the same way we'd gone up, and before long we found ourselves back in the car park at the van, ready for a wee cup of tea. Right, that's us back at the van, as you can see. What a great trip. Mark and Jerry have just headed off, and yeah, just sort of do a finishing piece here. It was fantastic. We picked the right hill, as we said. It's just under 1100 metres, so had we been any lower, to be honest with you, we wouldn't have experienced that. We didn't leave super early for a number of reasons, but yeah, that was fine. It didn't actually matter. We timed it just right, actually getting to the top, just the top poking out of the clouds. Absolutely brilliant. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week's video. As always, stay safe out there. Yeah, we'll just see you next week for another video. Maybe stay tuned for another few minutes to see if I can find that footage of me up here many moons ago. Right, see you in the next one, guys.